I just wanted to talk about prayer and its relationship with the placebo effect.
Ooh, I love that topic.
Okay.
It's great stuff.
Because something that I hear often is prayer works at the speed of chance. And if we're going to be as accurate as possible to reality, I don't think that's entirely accurate. And the reason for that is that when it comes to small injuries or things that that personal experience comes into play, the placebo effect is something we know happens.
Absolutely agreed. I actually was just about to pull up a study in the meantime to see if I could get it, but there was actually a study that went over the power of prayer. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, where they had multiple test groups. And so you had people who were not prayed for. You had people who were prayed for and were not told about it. You had people who were prayed for and told about it. And was that it, or was there more?
I mean, I think that's the gist of the study.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important for actually making the point. But I mean, I'll let you finish, but I have something to say on placebo. Sure. I want to make sure and clarify. It's William, right? I want to make sure and clarify. That's is there any specific claim here that you wanted to whittle it down to? Just I want to make sure I'm not going to straw man you or anything like that if we have this discussion.
No. And I just think that, like with Tom called in, I'm pretty sure you remember the call where he advocated for using miracles, the word miracle in a certain context.
Yeah, I absolutely remember. We had come to the conclusion, we'd talked about the fact that there are some words that are steeped so much in religious language, and there are so many times that when we do say the word miracle or we talk about things in those terms, what we're doing is we're propping up a system that has historically been really, really shitty, and it's just... Yeah. And so, going off of that, I think prayer is one of those things. And for a lot of people, I feel like prayer and their personal experience with having something that they feel is miraculously either healed or tended to for whatever reason, I think it's important to distinguish the fact that, yes, prayer in that context works, but it's not going to heal your cancer. It's not going to bring your kids back to life or something. So I think it's important for the conversation to just make that very clear distinction that your God might as well be sugar pills.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and that's something that I talk about a lot on my channel. Well, people have this argument when it comes to religion, when it comes to prayer, and also when it comes to alternative medicine. I compare the two on my channel. That's kind of the point, because I used to be a fundamentalist, but I thought that alternative medicine was just BS. And then I realized that my skepticism toward alternative medicine kind of applied toward fundamentalism too. So yeah, I couldn't swing that anymore. But basically my point on it is, yes, the placebo effect is there. It's great. I'm glad that placebo exists. That's something that sometimes has to be used. For thousands of years, it was probably the only thing we really could rely on for any kind of healing was just our willpower or expectation, because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And so what I say is to the people who say, oh, we need to be able to use placebo. What's wrong with getting Reiki healed? What's wrong with using essential oils? What's wrong with homeopathy? If it makes the placebo effect actually happen, that can be really effective. It's the power of the mind, right? It's going to heal you because the placebo effect is real. I agree. The issue is, if you actually think that it works, if you actually think that prayer can heal, if you actually think essential oils can help you cure cancer or something, you will rely on that. You'll feel the placebo effect at first, and that will confirm your basically preconceived notion. Confirmation bias plays in, and you get trapped in this loop to where you expect there to be an effect. There's a small effect, and so it reinforces it. You do it again and again and again and again, and eventually you got stage 4 cancer. That's what happens.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, if I can plug my own video here.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
I made a video called, it's How Peaceful Religion Kills Religion as a Placebo, because I have so many people talking to me, because I say, like, I'm an anti-theist, and people say, oh, what's wrong with just believing, right? And I say, well, if people didn't depend on it, to actually cure them of things or help them with real legitimate life problems that we have real solutions for, if you're not passing up chemotherapy, you know, to use this whatever, but people are passing up real things, real counseling if they have a mental illness, or, you know, real community if they're just going to a church and thinking that the greeters that are welcoming them in, I can't talk, you know, well, are actually there to, I mean, a lot of people want to make you feel welcome, but there's a lot of problems that you can address without the superstition, and they're better addressed without the superstition. So my whole point is, if it doesn't breed reliance, then I'm all for using placebo when you can. The way that doctors actually... Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm not trying to advocate for using the placebo effect in that way, in any way, shape, or form, because at the end of the day, you could ask the question, how many lives a year does prayer, you know, save? And I would be comfortable saying 0, but at the same time, I can also point out that, you know, the placebo effect may help somebody overcome some incremental thing, but that's only because of how many people there are on the planet and how many different situations people are in.
Yeah.
So it might save 10 people, but it might as well be 0 to 10, you know, for how many people there are on the planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it doesn't just go into the positive. How many people die thinking that prayer was going to help them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you need to recognize what the placebo effect does, and it's what its range is. And its range sure as hell is not cancer.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've shared this early on in the show, and I guess I'll share it again. I have a family member who does not live in this country, who is a successful individual, and I love him to death. He is a really, really, really kind human being. And he has cancer, and he's terrified.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else would be. And when you look at it, you know, you have chemo and you have radiation, and in this country that they live in, which is a first world country, there are doctors who are saying, oh, you don't need to do that, try homeopathy.
Right.
And so they have been drawing all of this money, you know, his life's work and savings out in all of these different, you know, rearranging the furniture for the correct feng shui, and meeting these different, you know, people who have, it's not just religion and prayer, it's also woo. And woo is incredibly fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, he spent $7,000 on a machine, right? This machine, you're supposed to either put a picture in or a lock of your hair, and it's supposed to scan your entire body, either through your DNA or scanning your picture. It doesn't even have to be a full body picture. I asked all the questions, right?
Wow.
And it's supposed to emit homeopathic waves to realign your organs and put everything into balance, right? And I asked,
Eric,
what's that?
Eric, I just want to say I'm so sorry that, you know, you're seeing somebody, you know, go through snake oil. I mean, because that's all that is. And I know you know that. And I know that everybody in this conversation knows that. And I just want to say I'm sorry that you're seeing somebody go through that.
And William, there's so many people that are going through it right now. And when it comes to seeing that heartbreak, you know, you realize that there are people who will hide behind the placebo effect, right? And say, oh, well, you know, it helped pain. I've actually seen video of people who thought that sticking needles in themselves would get rid of pain and go through surgeries. You know, the placebo effect can be a very powerful thing, but it doesn't get rid of fucking cancer. It doesn't get rid of cancer because the placebo effect doesn't actually have antiviral or these effects. It doesn't seek out and destroy cancer cells. And because of that, you have people like someone I deeply love in my family who I'm seeing wasting away. And it's because of charlatans who are preying on fear. And they do this for a living. And it is the worst kind of scam, because what you're doing is you're preying on the weak.
Yeah,
you're preying
exactly.
on people who are just wanting hope. And instead, you get snake oil.
It sounds like a faith healer.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same thing.
No,
it is.
Yeah. My final piece on placebo, I'll just say, is one, I like to treat it the same way an actual medical doctor would, even if it's talking about prayer. Placebo is the last resort. It will always be there. It's the bare minimum treatment possible. That's why we compare against placebo to make sure that something actually works, because anything can be a placebo. I mean, if you literally think that dropping some toilet paper on the ground will actually cure your headache, then that will act as a placebo just as well as swallowing a sugar pill. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
If you expect it, it's there. So yeah, treat it like a medical doctor in saying anything can be placebo. That is the bare minimum. It's easy to achieve, so we're going for something better than that.
Reliably better.
Right, and we don't want to rely on placebo. And then also, anything, even placebo, has cost. So a lot of the time, people are like, oh, you know, it's a placebo, but what are they losing? Well, if they're buying into essential oils, then probably a couple $100s to a few $1,000s a month because they have to stay in their multi-level marketing scheme. So that's what happens.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I just wanted to bring that up because callers like Juan, which has he called back since you guys talked when Tracy was on?
He has not called back since then, but that was last weekend, I think, or a week before last. So no, he didn't call last weekend.
Okay, so I'm just this conversation is best for callers like him, because right at the end he brought up prayer and was confident in how it works. So I was just thinking about this between what Tom said and how he brought it up, and I just thought it was a good point to bring up with you guys, and I'm glad I gave you guys both something to rant about for theist viewers. I'm just
glad that you brought that up quickly, because this is my first time on Talk Heathen, and that's something I literally talk about on my channel. I have a video where I talk about that. I have several videos where I hit on those points. So if you haven't checked out my channel, then I'm only here to shill, right? So you might enjoy those videos. But thank you for calling in and giving me the opportunity to rant about something that I actually know about.
Dude.
So
and before I do go, one other point that I did want to make was that the placebo effect also does fit into an evolutionary view of history and whatnot, because you take a look at that 100,000-year filter. And the people that believed that the tree spirit was going to heal their broken ankle quicker, they were more likely to live.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's just one of those one other bit of evidence that just fits towards that cohesive worldview in history and how we all got here and whatnot. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick. But thanks for taking my call, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for calling in. This has been a really awesome discussion.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we had a good one. I hope to see you on Sunday Mass tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. For those, actually, William, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna plug that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Might have to troll that chat.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad I got the plug in. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, later, man.
Yes, I am going to be on Sunday Mass at 7 o'clock on Mr. Atheist's channel. Yeah. It's not an ACA production, but I am going to be on with some really, really cool people. Yeah, so
he's a fun guy, and it's... If anybody, from my audience is watching, it looks like, Cosmic Skeptic. Alex, you're totally, the influence you have over the chat. Cosmic Skeptic is saying in our chat here, Drew's killing it with the shameless self-promotion. I'm also promoting Cosmic Skeptic. I fully endorse Cosmic Skeptic, because if I didn't actually collab with him, then I'd probably be at about 6,000 subscribers. Right? Yeah? So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, that is what I love. I absolutely love that we're getting that. I see a lot of your fans actually in here, and getting that cross-pollination, getting people together is a huge thing that the ACA is all about, and that's the direction we're moving in.
Yeah, it's not a competition, it's a community. Exactly. That's what we are.
Yes. So. The ACA, the middle stands for community, Atheist Community of Austin, but you're a part of it too. So I do want to let people know that with that line open, we have 2 lines. If you are a religious person, if you are a theist, and you want to call and have a talk with us, this is the time to call in, because we have lines open.